couple of men who were part of a gang that slaughtered a DPD driver in a cartel-style execution as he delivered parcels have been found guilty of his murder. Aurman Singh, who's 23 years old, was hacked to death by 7 men who were armed with an axe, a hockey stick, a knife, a golf club and a shovel on August the 21st, 2023. A trial heard that the delivery driver didn't stand a chance as he was ambushed in broad daylight before being left to die on the side of the road in Shrewsbury in Shropshire. His attackers chopped at his head with such force it fractured Mr. Singh's skull and exposed his brain, the court heard. The delivery driver's ear was also chopped off during the gang's bloodthirsty onslaught, which saw a knife plunged through his rib and a golf club whacked against him with such brutality the head snapped. Mehakdeep Singh and Sehajpal Singh, both from Tipton in West Midlands, have been found guilty of murder following a 3-week trial at Stafford Crown Court. 5 other members of the group have already been convicted and jailed. Aurman was attacked in broad daylight as he made a delivery in Coton Hill, but prosecutors said it was unclear what motivated the attack. The gang had used inside information to uncover the victim's delivery route and hunt him out. The group stalked Mr. Singh's van in a white Mercedes-Benz and grey Audi before ambushing the unsuspecting 23-year-old in the middle of the street. His injuries were so severe that there was no chance of him surviving, and he was pronounced dead at the scene. The suspects fled in their cars before dumping weapons, including a hockey stick and shovel, in a nearby street. The Mercedes in which Mehakdeep and Sehajpal travelled in was later found abandoned in Shrewsbury. They'd called a taxi which took them to Shrewsbury railway station, where they got on a train to Wolverhampton before fleeing to Austria, thinking that they'd never be caught. However, West Mercia police identified the moment when they were caught during a sting by armed cops in an Austrian village of Honezel, about 44 miles northeast of Salzburg and around 146 miles west of the capital Vienna. They thought that they could get away, but the cops just sniffed them out. The verdicts come after 5 other men were found guilty of his killing and jailed for a total of 122 years last year. The Chief Inspector Mark Bellamy said the attack was violent and calculated. He added Sehajpal and Mehakdeep, along with 6 other men, carried out this attack in broad daylight on a quiet Shropshire street with only one intention: to kill him. They used inside information to get hold of Aurman's delivery route, where they lay in wait for him before using an arsenal of weapons against him, knowing he was defenceless. Sehajpal and Mehakdeep, knowing what they had done, then fled the country in an attempt to avoid being put in front of the courts and facing the consequences of their actions. Judge Simon Hurst thanked jurors for their attention to the case and said that due to the distressing details would be excused from future jury duty. He said, "The law is a matter for me, the facts are a matter for you," he said. "Now you have delivered your verdicts, the baton is passed back to me." In April 2024, 4 men, Arshdeep Singh, Jagdeep Singh, Shivdeep Singh and Manjot Singh, were each jailed for 28 years. And a 5th man, known as the Inside Man, Sukhmandeep Singh, was convicted of manslaughter and jailed for 10 years. The court heard he supplied the gang with Aurman's delivery route before this brutal ambush. Guys, in this next news story, a gang involved in money laundering plot that helped fuel violence and drugs across the streets have been brought to justice. Berry duo Zahid Bashir and Wasim Ali were the final 2 figures to fall in a gang that had been living lavishly off the proceeds of their devastating crimes. Police say that their plot was unravelled by an investigation that started with a chance stop by officers on patrol and ended with a combined sentence of 25 years in prison for these guys. The investigation was launched after a police officer who was on patrol spotted a VW Golf that was driving suspiciously with significant damage. The driver noticed the officer's interest and decided to speed off the vehicle, ran a red light, and the officer began to activate emergency equipment to follow the car. The officer was able to safely stop the vehicle. The driver tried to run off but was quickly caught, and Bashir was arrested on suspicion of failing to stop for police. Officers said that they did not know what they found in that vehicle would be the start of a huge economic crime investigation spanning over 2 years. Inside the glove box, they found 5 bundles of cash, totaling £23,510. This was seized by police alongside 2 mobile phones and a wallet with Bashir's driving licence. Bashir was then further arrested on suspicion of money laundering, and after searching his home, Another 4 phones are seized, including a damaged black phone found hidden in the back of a kitchen cabinet and a small amount of drugs. A gun, which was later found to be a metal BB gun, was also located and seized. After the phones were examined, they found his pals. So in these messages, a timeline was created for investigating, and it was evident that Bashir was taking instructions from a guy called Slugger. Slugger passed across postcodes which showed he was organising the sale and transportation of drugs. Slugger was then identified as having the same phone number as another of Bashir's contacts, which is saved as W in his phone. Upon further messages, it was uncovered that W and Bashir were involved in the large-scale importation of drugs from Albania. They were then involved in dealing these drugs throughout the northwest of England. From uncovering more messages, W arranged a flight and holiday to Spain for himself and Bashir as a birthday treat. After the holiday, Bashir messaged Was Ali thanking him for everything, and this led officers to believe they had found the individual behind that codename W. Ali's phone number was searched on the police system, and this led to the confirmation that the number was linked to Ali. Ali was previously interviewed by police for a separate offence. By listening to the interview recording and comparing them to the voice messages he was sending to Bashir, officers believed it was the same person. Ali's previous custody photo compared with the holiday images of him with Bashir were also very similar. They believed Ali previously owned a series of restaurants, and throughout the investigation, detectives believed that the criminal profits through the sale of drugs would be laundered through those legitimate takeaway businesses. Through viewing more messages, Mani was identified as being an individual who controlled the money payments and loans. There were 2 numbers saved as Mani and Bashir's contacts, and detectives inputted one of the numbers into the police system. It was recognised as being a number given to the police by Imran Aslam, and police had previously interacted with him. On January the 3rd, 2023, detectives conducted simultaneous warrants on 2 addresses in Bury, believed to be linked to the group. Bashir was arrested on suspicion of being concerned with the supply of Class B drugs and money laundering, and is further arrested on suspicion of possession of Class B with intent to supply. Several items were seized, including 2 mobile phones and a large bag of vegetable matter, which was believed to have contained around 2.5 kilos of bush. This was believed to be worth approximately £24,500. Aslam was arrested on suspicion of money laundering. 2 phones and various items of designer clothing and £430 of cash were seized. Following the search, paperwork was seized from Aslam's address, which suggested he purchased a deposit box in Oldham. When officers gained access to this box, £15,000 in cash was seized, along with a quantity of gold jewellery. On Wednesday, January the 4th, Wazim Ali was stopped by police at the port of Dover in Kent, attempting to flee the country. He was arrested on suspicion of money laundering and conspiracy to supply Class B drugs, and he was shipped back to Manchester to face questioning. 3 phones were seized from the vehicle, along with around £200,000 seized from his luggage. Through accessing the messages on these phones, a group chat was uncovered involved Ali and 3 others who would discuss and organise the collection and delivery of multiple items. It was found a man named Mohammed Bilal was in regular contact with Ali and was in conversation with him regarding the sale and connection of weed on an almost daily basis. Bilal was charged with organising deliveries, drivers, collections and payments. And on Monday, February the 27th, 2023, another search was carried out at Bilal's home in Bury. He was again arrested on suspicion concerning the supply of Class B drugs and money laundering, and further arrested on suspicion of possession with intent to supply Class A. Officers had enough evidence to charge all 4 of the men, who were sentenced to a total of 25 years for their involvement. Ali was jailed for 14 years after pleading guilty to conspiracy to supply Class A and B drugs. Bashir was jailed for 4 years and 6 months. Bilal, he got jailed to 3 years, and Aslam got 4 years. Inspector Langley said, "We are dedicated to relentlessly pursuing and disrupting those who attempt to flood Greater Manchester with drugs, and will do all we can to bring those involved to justice. Drugs not only pose a risk to those who take them, but they're also often one of the biggest factors that lead to serious violence on our streets."